You start the month with $100 in good intentions. But by day 15, it has vanished into thin air. You didn't buy a yacht. You bought life. This isn't a discipline failure. It's a design flaw. Welcome to the one-pile trap. Most checking accounts are just a chaotic bucket. Your rent sits next to your coffee money. Your savings sit next to your electric bill. In economics, we call this commingling of funds. When money has no specific home, it has no defense. It becomes what economists call highly liquid. That means it flows to the path of least resistance. A swipe here, an auto draft there. Your $100 is like an unpaid intern in a war zone. It gets recruited by whatever bill shows up first. You think you have a balance, but you have an illusion. Pending charges and holds are hiding the truth. The one pile gives every merchant permission to raid. To protect the $100, we must break the pile. But first, we must identify the silent killer. How much do you spend on subscriptions? You probably guess around $86 a month. Studies show the real number is closer to $219. That is a $133 ignorance tax every single month. This is the subscription gap. Companies love the one pile because you stop looking. They rely on negative option marketing. That means silence equals consent to charge you. Trying to leave is a battle against friction. The FTC sued Uber for making cancellation hell. It allegedly took 23 screens just to say quit. That is not an accident. It is a revenue strategy. They count on your status quo bias. You stay subscribed because leaving is too hard. The FTC's click to cancel rule is fighting this. But enforcement has faced delays until mid-2025. Until then, you are on your own against the algorithms. If your money is in one pile, they will win. We need a system that fights back automatically. Enter the concept of structural separation. Stop trying to save with willpower. Willpower is a finite resource. Systems are forever. We introduce the two-lane asset configuration. Lane 1 is your calm cash buffer. It has one specific job: stop the resets. It is not for getting rich. It is for staying alive. It handles the flat tire, so your investments stay put. Think of it as a liquidity buffer. Most people skip this and go straight to investing. Then a $200 emergency forces them to sell stocks. That is selling low to pay for bad luck. Lane 1 must be filled on day 1 of the month. Automation removes the decision fatigue. The money moves before you can convince yourself not to. It is a digital version of cash stuffing. You're assigning a job to the dollar immediately. But here is the critical rule for Lane 1. If you break this rule, the system fails. It must be difficult to access. Accessibility is the enemy of stability. Why is inconvenience your best friend in building wealth? Because your willpower is a finite resource that drains with every decision you make. By 6 p.m., your prefrontal cortex, the logical CEO of your brain, is exhausted. That's when the tired brain takes over and every shiny gadget looks like a need. The 24-hour delay in Lane 1 is your firewall against these impulse attacks. It forces a cooling-off period where the logic has time to catch up with the emotion. If you have to wait a full day to access your calm cash, you probably won't buy the shoes. You are protecting your future self from your present-day weakness. Financial success isn't about being tough. It's about being tactical. It's about designing a system that assumes you will be tired, hungry, and impulsive. Think of Lane 1 as a do-not-touch vault for everything except real-life emergencies. A flat tire is an emergency. A 50% off sale at your favorite store is not. The friction of a separate bank account is the secret weapon of the wealthy. They don't have better discipline. They have better architecture. They make the right decision easy and the wrong decision annoying. If you can move money in seconds, you aren't saving, you're just holding cash for a bit. Real wealth defense requires strategic inconvenience. Your bank might call it inconvenient, but we call it fortress logic. When the 24-hour clock is ticking, the need usually turns back into a want. Master the friction, and you will finally own the ledger of your life. Everyone wants to talk about the S&P 510% returns. But investing your first $100 into stocks while carrying credit card debt is a mathematical error. This is the cost of capital, and it's a silent drag on your wealth. If the market gives you 10%, but your credit card charges you 25%, you're losing 15% net. You're paying for the privilege of losing money in the name of investing. Lane 2, your growth lane, only begins when the bleed is stopped. Paying off high-interest debt is a guaranteed return of whatever the interest rate is. Zero risk, zero volatility, 25% return. No hedge fund manager can beat that. Stop the FOMO, fear of missing out, on the next big stock while your boat is leaking. Your first $100 after lane 1 is built should be split between buffer and drag reduction. Focus on the most expensive interest first, not the most annoying bill. The goal is to stop the monthly bleed so your money stops resetting. Once the math is on your side, compound interest finally starts working for you. Until then, you are sprinting while someone keeps tugging your shirt backward. Investing is step 2. Survival and defense are step 1. A Bureau of Labor Statistics report shows that 72% of workers have access to retirement plans, but only 53% use them, often because they are drowning in the drag. Stop drowning first, then learn to swim. Target your highest interest rate today and make that your first lane 2 move. This is where the logic of wealth begins to win over the emotion of luck. The most dangerous moment in your financial life is not when you are broke. It is the moment you get a raise, a bonus, or a promotion and feel safe. This is the success trap, where lifestyle inflation starts whispering in your ear. Your brain says, "You've worked hard. You deserve this upgrade." And suddenly, your one pile, thinking merges everything back together. You start spending just a little more because the pile looks bigger. This is how people end up with 6-figure salaries and zero net worth. To fight this, you need the loud budgeting move. Loud budgeting is the power move of the truly wealthy. It means vocalizing your financial boundaries to the world without shame. When friends ask to go to an expensive dinner, you say, "I'm not spending on that right now." It's not because you're broke. It's because you have identity cash. You have assigned your money to a bigger future, and you aren't letting it get drafted. Wealth isn't about merging your lanes. It's about expanding them. Your calm cash buffer gets bigger, and your growth lane gets faster. Freedom is not a specific number in a bank account. Freedom is optionality, the ability to say no to a toxic boss or a bad deal. The $100 system builds that optionality one swipe-proof move at a time. Master the logic of the lanes, and you will own the ledger of your life.